It was the final stretch of senior year at Jones High School in Orlando, Florida, and Raina Brooks was already known for two things: her kindness and her loyalty. Quiet but confident, she had plans for her future. Early childhood education at Valencia College, eventually a classroom of her own. Her vision was clear, filled with the laughter of children and the smell of crayons, a world of gentle predictability she deeply craved. Even as a child, Raina had possessed a remarkable eye for detail, meticulously organizing her crayon box by shade or dissecting the intricate mechanics of a broken toy. This quiet focus hinted at a mind that processed the world with a careful, almost analytical precision. Marcus Moore was the opposite. Loud, athletic, magnetic, he was the golden boy of the track team, breaking records and collecting scholarship offers like trophies, his future a blazing trail to collegiate glory. Marcus had owned the hallways since elementary school, his booming laugh and effortless confidence infectious. The son of a formidable high school football coach, the expectation of athletic greatness had always hung heavy in the air, a burden he wore like a shining medal. His natural talent was undeniable, but beneath the bravado, there was a subtle, almost desperate drive to always be the best, to always win, a need that sometimes blurred the lines of fair play when the stakes were high. They were opposites in some ways, but together, they were magnetic. Their relationship wasn't just admired, it was envied. Other students were jealous, not because it was flashy, but because it was real. They were the kind of couple you just knew would go the distance. Their names whispered in the halls as the embodiment of high school romance. Until everything changed. Marcus tore his hamstring at a regional meet held at Boone High's track, a career-ending injury that shattered every plan he'd ever made. The roar of the crowd turned into a deafening silence. No more scholarship dreams, no more D1 colleges. Just the cold clinical reality of physical therapy and quiet, simmering disappointment that threatened to consume him. For the first time, Marcus was truly vulnerable, stripped of the athletic identity that had always defined him. Through it all, Raina stayed by his side, a steadfast anchor in his storm. She drove him to endless rehab clinics on East Colonial Drive, the sterile scent of liniment becoming a familiar companion. She meticulously took notes during appointments, her hand firm on his arm when frustration clouded his eyes. She encouraged him every grueling step of the way, her voice a soothing balm. He told her more than once that she was the reason he didn't spiral, that she pulled him back from the precipice. That injury didn't just change his future, it bonded them even more, forging an unbreakable tether in the crucible of adversity. They graduated together, their bond solidified, and married at 21, a quiet ceremony that felt like a natural extension of their intertwined lives. Raina, still driven by her passion, enrolled at UCF to pursue early childhood education, envisioning a future filled with teaching. Marcus, profoundly inspired by the dedicated professionals who helped him recover, channeled his shattered athletic dreams into a new pursuit. He enrolled in massage therapy and physical therapy classes, meticulously learning the mechanics of healing. After 2 years of marriage, a devastating truth emerged. Raina couldn't conceive. The news hit them both hard, a silent void where dreams of a family had bloomed. While Raina struggled with the quiet heartbreak, Marcus, unable to reconcile with the idea of not having children, began to seek solace elsewhere. His initial infidelity was often fleeting, a series of one-night stands fueled by a desperate desire for a legacy he felt was slipping away. But then there was Tamara. He met her during a brief stint in Birmingham, and she became the one girl he just couldn't leave alone, drawn in by her vivacious spirit and the uncomplicated nature of their encounters. She had no idea he was married, and his demanding occupation, constantly flying him to training camps and player retreats, provided the perfect, easy excuses for his frequent, prolonged absences. He found himself leading a meticulously crafted double life, a secret relationship that blossomed into a child. Marcus landed a life-changing opportunity, a chance to work with NFL athletes. It started small, stretching tight hamstrings at local combines in the humid air of Tampa and the vibrant energy of Miami, but quickly escalated. Word of mouth spread like wildfire among the elite sports circuit, and soon he was being flown out during off seasons and for crucial playoff recoveries. his reputation for getting athletes back on the field growing with every success story. The world of professional sports opened up to him, dazzling and demanding. When the money started rolling in, a torrent of cash that far surpassed their modest dreams, Marcus made a request that surprised Raina, yet undeniably tempted her. "Baby, you don't have to work anymore. Let me take care of you." Raina was reluctant. She loved the vibrant chaos of the classroom, the joy of watching young minds blossom, but she loved Marcus more. The thought of supporting him, of being the anchor while he soared, held an undeniable appeal. So, with a deep breath and a quiet compromise, she stepped back, trading lesson plans for leisure. The sprawling house they moved into in Winter Park was beautiful, a testament to Marcus's burgeoning success. Sunlight streamed through tall windows, illuminating spacious rooms. The money was undeniably good, providing a cushion of comfort she'd never imagined, but beneath the polished surfaces and designer furniture, Raina felt unfulfilled. A hollow ache settled in her chest, a constant whisper of what she'd given up. She tried everything to fill the void, baking elaborate cakes that went uneaten, embarking on ambitious DIY projects that never quite felt finished, finding momentary peace in the stretches of yoga at Lake Yola Park, even dabbling in event planning for their growing circle of affluent acquaintances. Nothing stuck. Everything felt temporary, a flimsy facade over a missing core. She desperately missed the lively energy of the classroom, the purposeful rhythm of her routine, the profound satisfaction of shaping young lives. Then, almost by accident, she started crafting first for her own quiet enjoyment, then for friends who admired her intricate designs. Her creations were delicate, whimsical, and infused with a unique charm. Her friends were captivated. "Girl, you're a natural. You should teach this stuff," someone exclaimed during a boisterous brunch at Maxine's on Shine, the aroma of gourmet coffee filling the air. Another chimed in, her eyes glinting with entrepreneurial spirit. "You ever think about doing tutorials on YouTube? You could make real money showing people how you do your designs." Raina hesitated, a spark igniting within her. They were right. She did have a knack for it, a steady hand and an artistic eye she'd never truly nurtured. Maybe this was it. Maybe this was her new purpose, a creative outlet that could finally fill the void. The idea, once a fleeting thought, began to take root and blossom. So, with a mix of trepidation and burgeoning excitement, she launched a YouTube channel. Just to try it, to dip her toes into the digital waters. Her initial tutorials started small. Basic Cricut projects, charming DIY mugs. Her soft voice and calm, methodical style, however, proved unexpectedly captivating. Viewers found her presence soothing, her instructions easy to follow. Within a few months, driven by her own hidden fascination and a keen sense of what might resonate with her audience, she subtly pivoted. She began weaving her crafting skills into her commentary on trials. Initially, it was subtle, perhaps creating a relevant themed trinket while discussing a case, or using her design skills to visually break down evidence. Her YouTube channel, now rebranded as Trials and Trinkets with Raina, took off faster than she could have ever imagined. Viewers were captivated by the unique combination. They loved her insightful legal analysis, delivered with her signature calm demeanor. And they were equally fascinated by her creative crafting projects, often finding symbolic connections between the trinkets and the trials she discussed. Her subscriber count climbed exponentially, a dizzying ascent fueled by the novelty and her genuine talent in both areas. Sponsors reached out, eager to tap into her niche audience that appreciated both intellect and artistry. Marcus, meanwhile, remained largely in the background of her digital life. He was rarely home anyway, always flying to some intense training camp in Jacksonville, a player retreat in Fort Lauderdale, or a high-stakes rehab session across the country. And she never put him on camera, respecting his privacy, his professional world existing entirely separate from her burgeoning online empire of legal insights and handcrafted creations, until the day he accidentally walked behind her during a live stream, a casual, almost unnoticed movement that would unravel everything. The live chat, usually a flurry of engagement, only had a few stray comments. But in Birmingham, Alabama, a woman named Sharon paused her viewing of Trials and Trinkets with Raina. She squinted at her screen. That couldn't be, could it? She hadn't seen him in years, but that broad-shouldered frame, the way he moved, even for a brief moment, Sharon rewound the video. There he was again. She quickly took a screenshot, her fingers flying, and then shared it with her cousin Tamra. Along with the link to Raina's channel, the message read, "Hey cuz, I was watching one of my crafting channels and saw this. Now, I could be tripping, but is this not Marcus?" When Tamara received the text message, a chilling sense of dread and fury immediately washed over her. She believed she was in an exclusive relationship with Marcus, even though she often grumbled that his job as an insurance consultant had him away far too much. She'd rationalized his absences, his vague answers about his family, all believing they were building a future together, just the two of them and their son, Micah. The truth, that he was a whole married man and had been for a long time to his high school sweetheart, had been utterly concealed from her. "I knew this dude was up to no good," she began muttering to herself, pacing her small living room. "I kept asking him and asking him, was there someone else? No, baby," she mocked Marcus' voice, pacing faster. "I could never find another you, like he's some damn KC or JoJo talking about you are my world, lies, lies, all of it." Her voice rose with each word. She slammed the refrigerator door shut with a violent thud. Cooking for his raggedy ass was definitely off the damn table today. She grabbed her phone and dialed Marcus. He didn't answer the first 2 times she called. Her heart pounded, a frantic drum against her ribs. The 3rd time he picked up, his voice smooth, a little breathless. "Hey, baby, is Micah okay?" "I can't speak right now. I'm in a very important..." Tamara cut him off, her voice a low, dangerous growl laced with venom. "I knew you was a low-down, dirty dog, Marcus, but this is low. Who in the hell is Raina?" She spat the name like a curse. A beat of silence stretched, then Marcus's voice returned, laced with a forced laugh. "Raina? Who is Raina, baby? What are you talking about? Are you losing your mind?" His tone shifted, becoming sharp, accusatory. "This is exactly what I'm talking about, Tamara. You're so insecure. How many times have I told you not to listen to gossip? You're gonna believe some random screenshot over me? Over the man who loves you, who provides for you and Micah? You need to trust me, not some crazy rumors someone's trying to stir up. Don't you dare accuse me based on nonsense," he continued, his voice rising, effectively turning the tables. "I'm in a crucial meeting right now, and you're calling me, screaming about some phantom woman? This is unprofessional. You need to calm down and think straight instead of letting other people plant doubts in your head." Tamara listened, her initial fury slowly giving way to a sickening churn of guilt and doubt. He sounded so genuinely indignant, so hurt by her accusations. And he was right, the screenshot wasn't clear, just a blurry figure in the background. And Florida? I don't know. I mean, he was always in places like Houston or Seattle for consulting. There was no way he could maintain a relationship with someone all the way in Florida with his travel schedule. Could she really be tripping? She let him talk his way out of this one, offering a hesitant apology as he ended the call, claiming he had to get back to his meeting. But even as the phone clicked dead, the seed of suspicion had been planted deep in her gut. A tiny, persistent ache that refused to be quieted. Over the next few weeks, Tamara started discreetly viewing Raina's channel. She watched daily, sometimes even binge-watching past uploads, scrutinizing every frame. She wasn't just looking for crafting tips anymore. She was looking for subtle hints of truth hidden in Marcus's words, signs of a life he might be sharing with this Raina. Though she never saw him in any other videos, and Raina never once spoke about her personal life on the channel, Tamara couldn't shake the nagging feeling in her gut. It was a cold, creeping dread that settled deeper with each passing day. Finally, driven by a desperate need for answers, she scrolled down to the channel description and located Raina's Instagram handle. Her heart pounded as she clicked on it, but relief quickly turned to frustration. Raina's page was private. After a few days of back and forth with her own mind, wrestling with her guilt and her gnawing suspicion, Tamara made a decision. She crafted a direct message to Raina. The cat was out of the bag. Raina received the direct message, an unexpected notification from an unfamiliar name. Her first thought was annoyance. Another cuckoo bird, she mused, probably a random viewer with a wild theory or a desperate plea for a crafting tutorial. She considered ignoring it, maybe even blocking the account, but a strange curiosity, a flicker of the very professional instinct that drove her to dissect trials, stopped her. There was an edge to Tamara's initial messages, a relentless, almost desperate quality that Raina found intriguing. She didn't block her. Tamara was indeed persistent, a barrage of increasingly urgent messages filling Raina's inbox over the next few days. Finally, with a sigh and a dismissive roll of her eyes, Raina decided to engage. At the very least, this would make for an interesting story time for her followers, a cautionary tale about internet strangers. She pictured the video already, a lighthearted tone, a chuckle at the absurdity of it all. However, it didn't quite go like that. Tamara's messages began to unfold like a meticulously constructed legal brief, each detail a devastating piece of evidence. She started describing Marcus to a T, not just his physical appearance, but uncanny little habits, inside jokes, moments only someone intimately familiar with him would know. Raina felt a cold prickle of unease. Then came the pictures. Photos of Marcus and Tamara on various trips, smiling date nights, candid snapshots that painted a picture of a life Raina had no part in. And then, the bomb. There it was, a photo of Marcus, unmistakable, holding a little boy who was undeniably, heartbreakingly his spitting image. The world tilted on its axis. A picture of Marcus, beaming, holding a little boy who was undoubtedly, undeniably his son. Raina's world stopped. The air left her lungs in a silent whoosh. That child, his child, a child she couldn't provide for him. The screen blurred through a sudden, hot haze of unshed tears. The pain of her inability to conceive, a wound that had never truly healed, ripped open anew, festering with the raw, brutal truth of his betrayal. The hurt, the deceit, the utter betrayal was all too much to process. Through the haze of her own shock, Raina's fingers flew across the keyboard. In stark, clipped sentences, she revealed everything. That she was Marcus's wife, that they had been married for years, since they were 21. The virtual conversation became a raw, painful exchange of fractured truths. Two women on opposite sides of a shared lie, both victims of Marcus's elaborate deception. After the initial explosion of anger and grief, a chilling calm settled over Raina. She knew what she had to do. As the conversation drew to a close, the two formed a pact between them. They agreed not to tell Marcus they had spoken. Not yet. The truth, now fully revealed, was a weapon, and Raina, the quiet observer, the meticulous planner, was about to wield it with devastating precision. Over the next few weeks, Raina and Tamara maintained their silent pact. They never spoke again, the brutal truths exchanged having forged a strange, painful understanding between them. Yet both women kept their word, revealing nothing of their clandestine conversation to Marcus. Raina, outwardly, maintained her wifely duties as usual. She cooked his favorite meals, ensured his clothes were laid out, and greeted him with the same gentle smile. But something evil was brewing inside of her, a poison of betrayal far more potent than any she would later research. It was something unexplainable, a dark, primal rage she'd never felt before and couldn't have put into words if she tried. Beneath the surface of her calm demeanor, a meticulous plan of revenge began to concoct itself, each thought a bitter ingredient in her silent fury. Then, one night, the beautiful Winter Park home felt cold, suffocating. She didn't cook dinner, didn't bother to dress up. She just sat in the quiet living room, the damning photo clutched in one hand and glass of whiskey in the other, the silence louder than any accusation. When Marcus walked in, a wide, easy smile on his face, oblivious to the storm brewing, the gym bag he was carrying slipped from his grasp. Thudding softly to the polished floor, coming in from one of his work trips she now knew were riddled with lies, Marcus came home to a slightly intoxicated wife. This was highly unusual. Raina typically only drank on rare occasions, and then it was usually a light spritzer or a single glass of Merlot. But tonight, the air in the house was thick with the potent scent of something much stronger. A half-empty bottle of top-shelf whiskey, dark and formidable, sat on the end table beside her. She was undeniably tipsy, and with the alcohol her lips had loosened, her usual quiet confidence replaced by a biting wit. One snarky comment after another punctuated Marcus's attempts at small talk, each one landing with surprising precision. He shifted, confused by the sudden animosity radiating from her, a foreign chill in their usually warm home. After one too many smart remarks or pointed replies to his questions, his confusion finally morphed into frustration. "What the hell is going on with you, Raina?" he demanded, his voice sharp with irritation. She met his gaze, a strange glint in her eyes, a shadow of the woman he thought he knew. And then, with a slow, deliberate motion, she said nothing. She simply held up the photo she printed. His smile vanished. She'd printed from the direct messages between her and Tamara, a picture of the two of them and his son. He sank onto the sofa slowly, as if the weight of the world had suddenly settled on his shoulder. She asked nothing. Her gaze, steady and unyielding, was enough. She just waited. He confessed it all, the words tumbling out in a torrent of shame and regret. The affair, the child, the layers of calculated lies. It had been going on for years, a clandestine double life lived in the shadows of his success. He never planned to leave her, he insisted, his voice cracking. He truly believed he could juggle it all, that his two worlds could remain separate, unseen. He cried then, great shuddering sobs that shook his powerful frame, his carefully constructed world crumbling around him. Raina didn't. Her face remained a mask of calm, her eyes dry and unblinking. She just nodded, a slow, deliberate movement, the silence from her more deafening than any scream. And then, without another word, she walked to their bedroom and went to bed, leaving him alone in the shattered silence of the living room. For the next 2 weeks, the house became a tomb. Marcus walked on eggshells, a ghost of his former self, his apologies futile, his attempts to mend what was broken met with Raina's chilling indifference. He barely slept, the guilt and fear etched into his weary face. Raina, however, moved with an almost unsettling serenity, her focus absolute. The quiet observation that had fueled her trials and trinkets channel now turned inward, dissecting the man across from her, his habits, his vulnerabilities. Then the news broke like a thunderclap. Tamara, the woman he'd had the affair with, the mother of his secret child, was found dead, strangled. There was no forced entry, no signs of a struggle. A child, the little boy from the photo, was found crying in the next room, a haunting echo of the tragedy. Raina heard the news, her heart feeling nothing but a cold, grim satisfaction. She considered the implications. No forced entry, it meant someone Tamara knew, someone she'd let in. Marcus's alibi, she recalled from their conversation, had been shaky. Did he do it? The thought sent a jolt, not of fear, but of a perverse validation. It meant he was capable. It meant her own burgeoning resolve was justified. Marcus was, of course, questioned. His claim that he hadn't seen Tamara in weeks, while difficult to dispute without direct evidence, hung heavy in the air. After hours of intense interrogation, he was released, a cloud of suspicion still clinging to him like a shroud. Raina watched it all unfold quietly, a silent observer in the maelstrom. She continued to cook his meals, the scent of simmering sauces filling the house. She rubbed his back when he slumped, exhausted and haunted. She nodded at all the right times, her empathy a carefully constructed facade, every gesture a calculated act in her unfolding drama. And in the quiet hours, when Marcus was asleep or away, the quiet observer turned into a meticulous strategist. She shifted her research, no longer delving into crafting techniques or legal precedents, but rather into poisons. Her studies were cold, precise, delving into obscure texts and online forums, her mind a sharp calculating machine, selecting the perfect, undetectable weapon for her silent vengeance. It began subtly, almost imperceptibly. First, a creeping fatigue that Marcus dismissed as the rigors of his travel schedule. Then, persistent nausea, a gnawing discomfort in his gut, joint pain, a dull ache that spread through his limbs. Finally, a creeping confusion, a fogginess that made simple tasks difficult. Marcus thought it was stress, the crushing weight of guilt, perhaps the unrelenting demands of his job finally wearing him out. He confided in Raina, seeking comfort and understanding, oblivious to the source of his ailments. Raina, her voice laced with feigned concern, suggested a new regimen. Nutrient-rich smoothies, powerful supplements. She prepared them daily, her movements smooth and deliberate, each glass a carefully measured dose. One night, she handed him his evening tea and kissed his forehead. "To us," she whispered. Marcus took a sip, sighed, and leaned back on the couch. They were watching a rerun of one of her trial episodes, one about a woman who poisoned her husband slowly until his heart gave out. He chuckled lightly. "This one's wild." Raina smiled, sitting beside him. Within minutes, he was struggling to breathe, sweat beating down his forehead. She turned up the TV volume just slightly. He clutched his chest, eyes widening in panic. Right? She turned to him calmly. You always said I was too soft. Guess I learned something from all those trials. He collapsed to the floor. She didn't call 911, just stared. He died right there, choking on regret. The autopsy was inconclusive, possibly heart. No one suspected anything else. Raina sat in front of her camera, barefaced. Her final video, thank you for watching. I won't be uploading anymore, but before I go, I want to leave you with this. The truth is, everyone has secrets. Some just get caught on camera. She ended the video, deleted her channel. She closed the laptop shut and gave a devilish smile as she walked away. Be careful who you mess over. Sometimes the quietest woman in the room, smiling, sweet, composed, is the one writing the final chapter. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed listening to my story of Dead Nakamish. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel so that I may bring you more captivating stories like this one. Also, I'd love to read your thoughts on this story. Until next time, stay safe, Shadow Watchers.